Hello, and welcome to two exercises on simplifying expressions and then inequalities. And these are based on Edexcel past exam question. And the first one says, simplify fully 3x squared minus 8x minus 3 divided by 2x squared minus 6x. Now, the first thing I do is to factorize the denominator there. Okay, and I do that by noticing that um, 2 is a factor of 2 and 6, and x is a factor of x and x squared. So I get it 2x out, and then if you do 2x into x minus 3, and you can see clearly that 2x times x is 2x squared, and 2x times minus 3 is minus 6x. So that's the denominator done then. So next we factorize the numerator, and to do that I need a factor pair such that when I multiply, I get the same result as 3 times minus 3. Now the first 3 is the coefficient of x squared, and the other 3 is the constant term minus 3. So if I do 3 times minus 3, I get 9, and the factor pair for that is minus 9 and 1. I've chosen minus 9 and 1 because when I add minus 9 and 1, I get minus 8, and the minus 8 will be the same as the coefficient of x there. I hope all that makes some sense. Right, so I got the factor pair of 9 and 1. When I multiply minus 9 and 1, I get minus 9, and when I add minus 9 and 1, I get minus 8. Hence minus 9x plus 1x there. So minus 9 plus 1 will give me minus 8. So now I can now factorize this bit here, 3x squared and 9x there, to give me 3x into x minus 3, and of course I got this extra x minus 3 there, which is same as 1 into x minus 3. So if I try to rub all those off, because it became a bit messy, that goes there, that goes. Okay. Oh, come on. So, right. So that's what we got there. So we now got 3x into x minus 3 plus 1 into x minus 3. So when you simplify, that then becomes 3x plus 1 into x minus 3. Now the x minus 3's cancel out. So that just cancel out. So you end up with 3x plus 1 divided by 2x. And for that you get 3 marks out of 80. Okay. Now the second exercise on inequalities says this here, that n is an integer such that 3n plus 2 is less than or equal to 14, and that's very important, and 6n divided by n squared plus 5 is greater than 1. It then says find all the possible values of n. Now the and is important, because the solution must be true for both inequalities. So there has to be a test there to see if they satisfy both inequalities. Does that make sense? Right, so that goes. Right. So what I then do is this here. Now 3n plus 2 is less than or equal to 14. And if you subtract 2 from both sides, you end up with 3n is less than or equal to 12. If you then divide both sides by 3, you end up with n is less than or equal to 4. Now, I have to test this value for n on both inequalities. So what I do, I don't know how you do it. So what I do here, just for clarification, to make it easier to understand, is I now draw a table there with possible n values. Don't forget that n is less than or equal to 4. Now, I've included 5 there, even though n is less than 4, because that will help me to express my result in a different method altogether. Okay, so now, if we then test 1, now 1 times 3 is 3, 3 plus 2 is 5, and 5 is less than 14, so that's true there, that's okay there. Now, for the next inequality, 6 times 1 is 6, 1 squared is 1, 1 plus 5 is 5, so 1 plus 5 is 6. Divide 6 by 6, you get 1. Now, 1 is not greater than 1, so that's false. So clearly, 1 is no good. Now, 3 times 2 is 6, 6 plus 2 is 8, and 8 is less than 14, so that's okay. Now, 6 times 2 is 12, 2 squared is 4, 4 plus 5 is 9. If you divide 12 by 9, the answer is certainly greater than 1, so that's okay. And 3 times 3 is 9, 9 plus 2 is 11, 11 is less than 14, so that's okay. Now, 3 times 6 is 18, 3 squared is 9, 9 plus 5 is 14, divide 18 by 14, the answer is greater than 1, so that's okay there. Let's try 4. 4 times 3 is 12, 12 plus 2 is 14, 14 is equal to 14, so that's okay there. Now, 4 times 6 is 24, 4 squared is 16, 16 plus 5 is 21, divide 24 by 21, the answer is greater than 1, so that's okay there. Now what about 5? Now, 5 times 3 is 15, 15 plus 2 is 17, and 17 is greater than 14, so that's not okay. That's not valid there. 5 times 6 is 30, 5 squared is 25, 25 plus 5 is 30, divide 30 by 30, you get 1 is not greater than 1, so that's not true there. So in effect, the true values we need will be this one for 2, this one for 3, and this one for 4. So now we can write our answer in one of two ways. It can be that n is greater than 1, but n is greater than 1 and less than 5, or you can just say it has values of 2, 3, and 4, and for that you get 5 marks out of 80. Now, I do hope all that made some sense, and please subscribe. Thank you for watching, and watch some of my other videos. Bye bye now.